What if the most humiliating moment of your life was witnessed by everyone who ever underestimated you, and they had no idea the real humiliation was about to be theirs? Snow fell softly outside the grand ballroom windows that New Year's Eve, blanketing the city in silence, while inside, champagne flowed and laughter echoed off crystal chandeliers. Elena Harper stood alone near the roaring fireplace, her simple black dress a stark contrast to the glittering gowns swirling around her. In her hand, a single sheet of paper trembled slightly, the prenup amendment her husband had insisted on signing tonight, right here in front of his entire social circle. Why now? Why make it public? She glanced across the room at Victor, his arm draped possessively around a woman half his age, their heads close in easy conversation. Guests shot pitying looks her way, some whispering behind manicured hands. Elena caught fragments. Poor thing, clung on too long, finally letting go. Each word landed like a pinprick. She had endured the slow erosion of their marriage, the late nights, the separate bedrooms, the way affection turned to indifference for 5 quiet years. She had swallowed pride, convinced herself that staying meant strength. But tonight, this felt deliberate, calculated. Her fingers tightened on the pen a waiter had discreetly provided. One signature, and she would walk away with nothing but the clothes on her back. No alimony, no share of the empire Victor's family had built, just freedom. But was it really freedom if it came wrapped in shame? She hesitated, the tip hovering over the line. A woman in red sequins brushed past, murmuring just loud enough, "At least she's being graceful about it." Graceful, as if heartbreak were a performance to be applauded. Elena's chest tightened. She thought of the dreams she'd buried, the art studio she'd closed, the travels postponed, the children they never had because the timing wasn't right, all for a life that demanded her public surrender. The pen scratched the paper. Done. Victor looked over, flashed a triumphant smile, and raised his glass in a mock toast. A ripple of awkward applause followed from his closest friends. Elena folded the document, handed it to his lawyer waiting nearby, and felt something inside her fracture. But fractures can let light in, can't they? She slipped through the crowd toward the terrace doors, needing air. Outside, the cold bit her skin, but it felt honest, real. She leaned against the railing, watching her breath cloud in the night, wondering how she had become this version of herself, the quiet wife who faded into wallpaper. That's when she noticed the black town car pulling up below. Unusual for this venue, guests arrived in limousines or sports cars. The driver emerged, opened the rear door, and a tall figure stepped out. Silver hair, tailored coat, posture that commanded without effort. Elena's heart stuttered. No, it couldn't be. She hadn't seen him in years, not since she'd walked away from everything at 22, determined to prove she could make it without the shadow of his name. Back inside, the party hummed on, oblivious. Victor was holding court now, regaling a group with stories of his latest acquisition. Finally closing that chapter, he said loudly, eliciting chuckles. Time to move forward. But forward for whom? Elena re-entered the ballroom just as the newcomer stepped through the main doors. Conversation didn't stop dramatically, no gasps, no record scratch moment. Instead, it ebbed. A slow hush spread like ripples in a pond. An older guest near the entrance froze mid-sip. Is that Alexander Voss? The name traveled faster than the man himself. Alexander Voss, the Alexander Voss, founder of the Voss Group, hotels, real estate, private equity spanning continents, a man whose net worth made Victor's family fortune look modest. Victor's laughter died. He turned, glass halfway to his lips. Alexander's eyes scanned the room methodically until he found Elena. His expression softened just a flicker, and he began walking towards her. Guests parted unconsciously. Victor intercepted him first, hand extended with forced enthusiasm. "Mr. Voss, what an unexpected honor. I don't believe we've had the pleasure." Alexander shook briefly, politely, but his attention remained on Elena. "Actually, we have, through my daughter." The word hung in the air.
Daughter. Victor's smile faltered. Your daughter? Alexander reached Elena, placing a steady hand on her elbow. Are you all right, Ellie? She managed to nod, throat tight. The childhood nickname undid her more than any grand gesture could. Around them faces shifted. The woman in red sequins paled. Whispers turned frantic. Someone pulled out their phone, probably searching Alexander Voss' daughter. But there was a mini-twist waiting. Victor recovered quickly, chuckling nervously. Elena never mentioned, Harper is her married name, of course, but her name, Alexander said quietly, is Elena Voss, always has been. A new murmur arose. Someone near the bar muttered, Wait, the Voss Harris? The one who disappeared from the social pages years ago? Elena felt the weight of every stare. She had vanished deliberately, rejected the private schools, the trust fund expectations, the arranged connections, moved to a different city, changed her name professionally, met Victor at a charity event she volunteered anonymously. She wanted to be chosen for herself, not her legacy. And now the irony burned. Victor tried again. Sir, if I'd known. You didn't need to know, Elena said, her voice steady for the first time that night. That's rather the point. Alexander turned to him fully now. I understand congratulations are in order. You've just secured full control of your family's assets by having my daughter waive any claim. Victor's face drained of color. The Prenup amendment, designed to protect him from a gold digger, suddenly looked very different when the digger had walked away from billions. But here's where it twisted again. Alexander smiled faintly. Though I should mention, Elena never needed your money. She funded half your company's expansion 3 years ago, anonymously through one of my smaller foundations. She believed in your vision. The room went deadly quiet. Victor stared at her. You, what? Elena met his eyes. I wanted to see if you'd succeed on merit, if we'd build something together. Turns out, you preferred building alone. She turned to her father. I'm ready to leave. As they walked toward the exit, Alexander opened the car door. I've kept your studio exactly as you left it. She laughed softly, surprised by the sound. You didn't. I did, and the Paris apartment, and the vineyard your mother loved. Elena looked back at the glowing windows of the ballroom, silhouettes frozen in various states of shock and reconsideration. She had spent years proving she didn't need her inheritance. Tonight, she realized she never needed their approval either. If this story stirred something in you, maybe reminded you of a time you were counted out, or when staying silent took more courage than speaking up, take a moment to reflect. Share below what quiet strength looks like in your own life. Your stories inspire others more than you know. And if these tales of resilience and hidden truth resonate with you, consider joining Kindness Square. We share them to remind us that beneath every assumed weakness lies extraordinary power. Because sometimes the person everyone pities is the one who was never in danger of breaking. They were simply choosing when to begin.